So listen, my back really hurts right now, and as a 24-year-old, I should probably be more concerned about that, but I care more about Big Brother. So I always heard about Big Brother as some like basic reality show that was super corny and super cheesy, but then I actually sat down and watched Big Brother, and I decided that it was my destiny to be able to talk about it, because oh my god, is this show awesome. So Big Brother is a reality show, but also like a competition show. And the name Big Brother is based off of George Orwell's 1984, where Big Brother is always watching. And you're probably asking, why is Big Brother always watching? Because there are cameras in every corner of this house, even the bathrooms and showers. And the players are constantly mic'd up all the time and actually get penalized if they have their mics off while they're talking to people. Anyway, 16 strangers are put in this house together for 100 days with no communication in the outside world and no ability to leave, but week by week a different player is evicted. And they have to like play in different competitions and stuff, which we'll explain later, to like save themselves and be the person who selects people to go home. But eventually, when the final 9 or so of the show happen, those final 7, other than the 2 that are the final 2, are selected to be part of the jury. And the jury are the people who vote for the winner of the entire competition based off the final 2. And then that player who wins this entire competition wins $750,000 for manipulating a house full of those jury members and backstabbing even more people to get to that $750,000. And like sometimes I feel like the people do that for their own enjoyment too, not just the enjoyment of the game and the enjoyment of the viewers. Because like I feel like most of these people by the end of this series always end up hating each other. So to give you a more in-depth rundown of Big Brother, we're going to throw it over to myself. Hey, thanks, Keith. So every week on Big Brother, a head of household is selected in what's called an HOH competition. HOH standing for head of household, obviously. That head of household has to select 2 different house guests per week to put up for nomination to be evicted. But one of those 2 people may not be one of the people going home that week. See, because there's this little thing called the power of veto. And in order to win that, you have to win the power of veto competition, which is basically the same thing as the head of household competition, except it's only 6 players. The first 3 people being the head of household and the 2 nominations, and then 3 other players that are drawn by the head of household and the 2 nominations. Now, whoever wins the power of veto can actually veto one of the head of household's choices for eviction, and that takes that player off the block, and then the head of household gets to put another player up for nomination. And there's a lot of strategy there because you actually like backdoor a different competitor who you think is a better competitor and didn't want to play in the veto competition. So for example, if one of the people that's nominated for eviction wins the power of veto, then they can take themselves off the block and be safe for another week and then have the head of household put someone else, but they're not going home this week. Now that's all fine and dandy, but my favorite part isn't even about the veto competition or anything having to do with the real decision here. It has to do with right before the veto decision is made. Because what happens is someone takes the veto, the person who won the veto, takes the veto, puts it around their neck, and stares at a wall of all the people's faces. And you're probably thinking, oh, that happens like maybe once a season. It happens every time the power of veto is selected. Every time. Every episode of every season. And it's always the same dramatic music, and it's always the same awkward staring at the wall. And it's beautiful. Also, as a side note, every time that there's a meeting or something, or like an announcement, they explain the rules of that meeting, or explain the rules of the role every single time, like no one has watched this show before on an episode in the middle of the season. Like, I get if you said it once or twice in the first 2 episodes of the season, but you're not doing that. You're saying it every single episode. Like, what do you think? People are just watching the middle of the season? Who does that? Who does that? Are you insane? No, I mean, seriously, like, why would someone come into the middle of the season just being like, hey, what's a veto? No, you idiot. Go watch the beginning of the show like everyone else did and learn. Back to you, Keith. Okay, that guy was really angry. So week to week, they have to evict a different house guest, and sometimes there's a double eviction night, which is live, and what happens is basically the entire cast speed runs the entire eviction process of like talking about who they want to go home, and then nominating people, and then the veto competition, and then the power of veto meeting where they still stare at the wall. And then the worst part of the double eviction nights for me is that normally someone gets to pack their bag and leave when they're evicted, but when it's a double eviction live, there's not enough time to do that. So they just kind of walk out with nothing. And like, do they get their stuff from the house? Anyway, how the eviction process works is the 2 people who are up for eviction and the head of household don't get to vote unless there's a tie. Then the head of household gets to vote, but I haven't seen that happen yet. And each member of the household gets to go and vote for who they want to be out of the house based off of if it's good for their game, or if they're a good player, or if they're a bad player, or honestly, sometimes if they just don't like them. And whoever gets a majority of the votes, sadly, is evicted from the Big Brother house and has to leave the house immediately and go talk to the wonderful Julie Chen Moonves, who I'm sure has absolutely no controversy surrounding her name right now. So those eliminations keep happening week after week in doubles and singles until there's 2 players left, and then the one player is voted on by the jury to win the, and I cannot stress this enough, $750,000 prize. Now, the competitors of Big Brother are normally comprised of a lot of fans who applied to the show and wanted to get on the show to play the game as fans of the show, and then some other recruits, whether it be like social media influencers or, yeah, that's basically it. Just in case the show wants to like get more popularity, they can have the social media people like promote it, I guess. I don't know. They normally suck anyway. And within the first episode or 2 of the show, you can really tell who the smarter ones are that are going to make it to like the final 5 and who the dumb ones are that are going to get eliminated in the first 3 weeks. Now, this week we're going to be looking back at Big Brother 16, which a lot of people find to be a pretty boring season, but Donnie motherfucking Thompson is the greatest competitor of all time and was such a great dude who didn't deserve his downfall. I mean, that dude wouldn't hurt a goddamn fly. Anyway, in this example, we've got a lot of the fans of the show in this cast. You got Derrick, you got Cody, and then you got Frankie Grande, brother of fucking Ariana Grande, who just appears on this show. And like I said, most of the cast, too, is also fans of the show. But then you've got Joey. And Joey, well, she was fun. Joey immediately said in, like, her intro that she was, like, a really big feminist who wanted to have an all-girls alliance. So on, like, the first day, she just decided to form this all-girl alliance. But then the girls were already aligned with some of the guys. So it got found out that Joey was making this alliance, and she immediately became a target. So then instead of trying to like lie her way out of it, she just flat out told all the guys that she made this all-girl alliance because she hates men. And also the all-girls alliance didn't have any like grounds to stand on, so she got evicted pretty quickly. And then there's Victoria, who rarely won a competition, and I don't think actually won a competition, and I don't think ever won a power of veto, and was up for nomination for eviction like 10 goddamn times, but somehow made it to the final 3 because she rode the coattails of Derrick. There were also some pretty actually mentally insane players in this show too, like Devin. Devin allied himself with sweet Donnie, but then immediately betrayed him, which he didn't deserve, and then told everyone about it because he felt bad. But like, what game are you playing telling everyone that you had an alliance and then you betrayed that to join another alliance? And then when he got called out for all his BS, he just became like this supervillain on the show, which doesn't last long in the Big Brother house. He got eliminated the next week. That's what you get for f***ing with Donnie Thompson, bitch. But the core alliances we're going to be taking a look at from this season of the Big Brother are the Bomb Squad, which was Derrick, Caleb, Cody, Christine, Frankie, and Zach. The Hitmen, comprised of a final 2 of Cody and Derrick. Spoiler alert, that's the final 2. And one other alliance that was a twist from this season, Team America, which was Derrick, Frankie, and my boy, Donnie motherfucking Thompson. I just love this guy so much. Like, he's a small-town North Carolina groundskeeper for a public school system. And I mean, look at this guy. He's so adorable. Look at him. Anyway, every once in a while, Team America would get missions as voted on by America. And every time they got a mission and completed it, each member of Team America got $5,000 extra. Now, needless to say, things that happened that involved Team America got pretty messy.
Did you see that?
Dude.
No.
Now, the Bomb Squad ends up having most of its players reach the final 5 or 6, and the Hitmen, comprised of Derrick and Cody, end up being the final 2 of the show, with Derrick inevitably winning the show by a vote of 7-2. I feel like I should also mention at this point that outside of the show, Derrick is an undercover narcotics cop, and it is literally his job to manipulate and lie to people like he did in the show. Like, if anyone thought that this guy wasn't going to win this whole show the entire time, I don't know what show you were watching. What, did you think it was going to be Frankie? Now, getting into the competitions on this show, they're all pretty weird too, whether it be the weird prize swap competition that always ends in someone wearing a unitard, or an even weirder competition where you have to put balls on a shovel and balance on the shovel all the way back and forth. It's basically the same style of competitions every year, or the same core competitions every year, with a different skin on it depending on what theme Big Brother is trying to poorly execute that year. Also, there's Zingbot, who I think is one of the best parts of the show because it's exactly what I aspire to be like as a human, but in robot form. See, Zingbot is the most insulting character on the entire show. He just insults people, insult after insult, but they find it funny. And this guy like never pulls his punches, but everyone laughs at it all the whole time while he just obliterates their self-confidence. Oh, as a weird side note about this season 2, I should also mention that randomly in the middle of one of the episodes, coming back from commercial, they just panned the audience, and Ariana Grande is just there with their family, but like there's no security there for her. And like, how do you just put Ariana Grande, who at the time, because I think this was like 2014, was like one of the biggest pop stars in the world, like how do you just put her in the middle of an audience and not have any security around her? And everyone's just playing it like super casually. Like, did they know Ariana Grande was there? Did they like turn and go, oh shit, that's Ariana Grande? Or were they so invested in watching her brother compete on Big Brother that they were like, oh, that's just some random girl who looks exactly like Ariana Grande watching her brother, assumedly, not really though, just competing in the competition. So I know that people thought that this season of Big Brother was a pretty boring one in terms of the people like drama and shit, because like pretty much everyone got along with each other until the end when it started to unwind at the seams. Except for Christine, who was like booed off of the house, didn't hug anyone goodbye, and then got onto the stage and was immediately booed because she was like flirting with Cody the whole time, but she was goddamn married. But if you'd like to see me talk about more seasons of Big Brother, let me know in the comments, because I'd love to go back and watch other seasons, because I've watched this season, the current season, and clips on YouTube. So please, give me a reason to watch more Big Brother. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comments. Remember to leave a like and subscribe for more stuff like this. That's it for this week's Stop in the Knowledge Corner, and I'll see you next week.